Tales of the Wooden Northwestern Railway, Episode 63, The Minimum Gauge Mainland. The mainland, or England, Scotland, and Wales, is home to the other railway, known to most people as British Railways. It's mostly diesel and electric, and only preserved steam engines are usually given a special status. However, sometimes this is not respected. For the engine to the Northwestern Railway, almost all the standard gauge locomotives would have their status respected. A notable exceptions would be Fergus and Sanson. Only a few of the narrow gauge engines would be, those being Skarloey, Renaeus, Duke, Bertram, Rusty, Duncan, and Sir Handel. Four of them because they are legendary engines, Rusty because he's a diesel, and Sir Handel and Duncan because they wouldn't take any of the diesel's nonsense. Of the three minimum gauge engines on the Northwestern Railway, only one is allowed on the other railway, usually. That engine is Frank. Frank is the only minimum gauge diesel. And he knew why he was the only one allowed, as he thought to himself as he came back from the mainland to collect the goods train. But he knew Mike and Bert did not. As he came down from the Victortown Bridge, he heard Mike complaining loudly. "Ugh," complained Mike. "I wish we could go on the mainland." "I do too," said Bert, "but Sir Topham has his reasons." "Well," said Mike, "we should just do anyway, no matter what Sir Topham says." "I think I disagree," said Bert. "Sir Topham must have a good reason for us not to be able to go on the mainland." "Pish posh," said Mike. "It's just silly." "Mike, are you complaining about not being able to go on the mainland again?" asked Frank. "Of course I am. What else could I be complaining about?" said Mike, loudly. "Oh, here we go again," said Bert. "I mean, seriously, James gets to go on the mainland, and so do Skarloey and Renaeus. I'm the only red engine on Sodor that can't go on the mainland." Why does he do this all the time?" murmured Bert. "Well, Mike, I'll tell you what. It's because we're minimum gauge engines." "Really?" "Well, diesels on the other railway don't always respect heritage engine status, and minimum gauge engines are the top of the list for that. I'm the only diesel, and that's why I can go." "But what about the narrow gauge steam engines that can go?" said Mike. "Yeah," said Bert. "Well, that's because Duncan and Sir Handel wouldn't take the nonsense. Rusty's a diesel, and Skarloey, Duke, Bertram, and Duke are tender engines, and Skarloey and Renaeus are so legendary that they would be respected." "Oh," said Mike. "Do wish I can go on the mainland, though." "That makes sense," said Bert. "But what about stuff like galas?" "Well, with more than one engine, we definitely could do that. But just not you two by yourself, or some of the narrow gauge engines that aren't allowed to go." "I see," said Mike. "I still wish I could, but I guess Sir Topham has his reasons." Frank?" What?" said Frank. "I gotta depart." "Oh, right." Frank backed up a little, and Mike pulled away.